Before the World Cup existed, international football was mostly tied to the Olympics. But FIFA wanted something bigger, a tournament of its own built entirely around football. So in 1928, FIFA officially approved the creation of a world championship. The first host was Uruguay, a country that had already become a football powerhouse by winning Olympic gold in 1924 and 1928. In 1930, the first ever FIFA World Cup kicked off in Uruguay. But there was one huge problem: travel. Crossing the Atlantic in 1930 was expensive, slow, and difficult, especially during the Great Depression. In the end, only 13 teams entered the tournament, and when it was all over, the host nation made history. Uruguay defeated Argentina 4-2 in the final and became the first World Cup champions ever. The biggest tournament in football had officially begun. The second World Cup came in 1934, this time in Italy, and Italy won it. Then in 1938, they did it again, becoming the first team to win back-to-back World Cups. But just as the tournament was starting to grow, the world changed. Because of World War II, the 1942 and 1946 World Cups were canceled. For 12 years, the biggest event in football simply vanished. When the World Cup finally returned in 1950, it came back with one of the most painful moments in football history. Brazil hosted and were expected to win, but instead, Uruguay stunned Brazil 2-1 in the decisive match, a result so traumatic that it got its own name, the Maracanazo. And just like that, the World Cup is glory, but also a heartbreak. 1958, also called Legends Era, the world met a 17-year-old Brazilian named Pelé. He wasn't supposed to become the face of football so quickly, but when Brazil win their first World Cup, and football had found its first true global superstar. Brazil won again in 1962. Then, in 1966, England won. But the defining image of this era came in 1970. Pelé became the only player in history to win 3 World Cups. As football spread across the World Cup had to grow with it. For decades, the tournament mostly stayed at 16 teams. But in 1982, it expanded to 24. And then, in 1998, it expanded again to 32 teams. In the middle of that growth came one of the most iconic World Cups ever, Mexico 1986. This was Diego Maradona's tournament. In the quarterfinal against England, he scored 2 goals that perfectly captured his legend. In 1994, Brazil won their 4th title in a final against Italy that became the first World Cup final ever decided by penalties. In 1998, France won their first World Cup on home soil, with Zinedine Zidane at the center of it all. In 2002, the first World Cup with multiple host nations, and Brazil won it again. That victory gave Brazil their 5th World Cup title. In 2006, Italy lifted the trophy. In 2010, Spain won their first World Cup in South Africa, the first World Cup ever held on African soil. Then came 2014, and one of the most unbelievable matches football has ever seen. Host nation Brazil faced Germany in the semifinal. And what happened next didn't feel real. Germany destroyed Brazil 7-1 in their own country. It was the kind of result only the World Cup could produce. In 2018, France won the World Cup in Russia, and the tournament introduced a new superstar to the world, Kylian Mbappé. But 4 years later, the World Cup delivered something even bigger. Qatar 2022 became the first World Cup ever held in the Middle East. But more importantly, it became the tournament that finally completed Lionel Messi's story. Argentina reached the final against France in a match that felt almost impossible to process in real time. Messi completed a hat trick. In the end, Argentina won. Messi lifted the World Cup from 13 teams to a 48-team tournament in 2026. From Uruguay's first title to Messi's crowning moment, the FIFA World Cup has never stopped evolving. The 2026 edition will be the biggest yet.